Hi everybody, this is Heidi from Hands Occupied with another knitting video tutorial for you. In today's video, we are going to tackle the tassel stitch. Right here, we are looking at a stitch called the tassel stitch in knitting. You can see that it has a very obvious wrong side and right side, and it gets its name because, as you can see, these little staggered motifs topped off with this slip stitch look like little tassels that you might see on a curtain pole or something. So let me show you how to work this fun stitch. Right here on my needles, I've cast on 6 stitches plus 1. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, that's 2 multiples of 6, plus 1 more stitch for the stitch repeat. And this stitch is also worked over 12 whole rows, so I will be using time lapse. So this video isn't 800 years long. Row 1 is a right side row, and it is worked by knitting 4 and purling 2 until the last stitch of the row. And that last stitch will be knit. Knit 4, purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, and we end this with a knit 1. And that is row 1. Now we turn to the wrong side, where we will purl 1 to start our row. So there's our purl 1. And now for the rest of the row, we will knit 2 and purl 4. Purl 4. And now row 3 is simply a repeat of row 1. And now row 4 is the same as row 2, which is a wrong side row that begins with purl 1, and then the rest of the row is worked knit 2, purl 4. And now we are turning our work to the right side for row 5. So far with rows 1 through 4, we have set up right down here just this rib for this 4/2 rib all the way across. Now we need to incorporate this loop for this nice tied off tassel look at the top. Now that we've turned our work to the right side for row 5, we're going to do something kind of unique. So if you think of a cable cast on in knitting, that might be helpful for this next step. To begin row 5, you're going to do a loop, which involves inserting your right hand needle in between the 4th and the 5th stitch. So see how it's not inserted into any loop at all? Your needle's just in between stitches 4 and 5. You're going to wrap your yarn just like you're working a knit stitch to draw up a long loop, and then just let it hang out on your right hand needle. Now, to continue, we're going to knit 1, and that first stitch can be a little hard because your working yarn has to go around all 4 of these loops. So knit 1, purl 2, and then knit 3. So the first of the 3 that we're going to knit is the 4th loop that we had our tassel loop around, the 4th stitch that we worked our tassel loop around, and then the next 2 knit stitches are into purl stitches from row 1 to 4. So let me show you that one more time. Now we are going to make a loop. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on our non-dominant needle, in my case my left hand needle, inserting our right hand needle in between stitches 4 and 5, we draw up a loop and elongate it. Now we knit 1, purl 2, and knit 3. And to finish off this row, there should be 1 stitch left that we will simply knit. And this is what it looks like after row 5. So you can see we have made 1 tassel, 2 tassels with that loop at the top, but now we have more than our initial cast on, which was a multiple of 6 plus 1. We had 13 stitches for demonstration's sake here. But now we have these extra loops, and in the next row I'll show you how to get rid of them. Before row 6, let's take a quick look. This is where we are right here. Rows 1 through 5 are this much of this swatch. Now, for row 6, we're turning to a wrong side row. We're going to deal with those extra loops in row 6 as well. So we're going to simply start out by purling 1, and now we'll work the following repeat across the rest of the row. So we're going to purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, and then purl 2 together. And that purl 2 together gets rid of the extra loop. And then we repeat it. Now rows 7 through 12 are kind of like rows 1 through 6, but staggered to get this nice effect in our finished swatch. Okay, we're on the right side, and row 7 is knit 1. And then we repeat across the rest of the row, purl 2, knit 4. And then row 8, we work purl 4, knit 2 until the last stitch. And that last stitch is a purl 1. And now rows 9 and 10 are just 7 and 8 again. And now row 11 is one of those fun loop rows. This one starts by knitting 3 before we work that first loop. So there's knit 3, and now we need to count 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, work a loop in between stitches 4 and 5, and elongate it. And now we knit 1, purl 2, knit 3, and then we do another loop before working that repeat. Knit 1, purl 2, and on this last repeat on row 11, we end with a knit 2 instead of a knit 3. All right, and now we'll turn to the wrong side to work row 12, the last row in our stitch repeat. So we will go purl 1, knit 2, purl 2 together, and then we end with a nice and easy purl 1. Every time you end a stitch repeat, it's a good time to check your stitch count. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 13. And that is in fact a multiple of 6 stitches plus 1. And that's just a good way, if you're working with a new stitch, to not end up with 1 or 2 loops too many or too few, resulting in a stitch you're not wanting. So one final look at the whole swatch here.
And that was the tassel stitch. If you like what you saw, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe for even more videos, and comment if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to keep your hands occupied. Your hands occupied.